Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. This is what happens, isn't it, when you're a caregiver? And especially for when it's round the clock and your mother in your house and so on and so on. It would be the same, however, were it a child or or your spouse or anyone with whom you're close enough to be their caregiver. You get interrupted and you just have to interrupt what you're doing. Your time is never your own. I guess we should call it caregiver's time, shouldn't we? Like Central Time, Eastern Time, Pacific Time, this is caregiver's time. It's just whenever a need arises. And that's need o'clock time instead of 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10. Or what did the old song, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, quarter to 10. Why do I linger every time you snap your finger? Remember that one? That's an oldie. Well, it's kind of like this. You have, whenever she snaps her finger, I have to run and see what's going on. And snapping the finger here is the ringing of this little bell, which has a tone that I can hear just about anywhere in the house. So what were we talking about? Not sure what we were talking. Oh, the cat, the Siamese cat. So anyway, I realized it wasn't our cat going across the pasture there in front of the cedar trees. And I looked down, and sure enough, our cat is right there in his little heated cat house for the winter. So no wonder when I spoke to this cat, he started to walk back toward home. He was a trespasser. There aren't many Siamese-type cats that you see as outdoor cats, so it's unusual that these people moved in and had a cat that looks very like ours. I think I told you we call this cat, well, he has his real name is Snowy, but we often call him Chocolate Socks. Oh, and guess what I found today? I was just thrilled when I saw this. I was checking for something, I don't remember what, on the computer when I had just a minute between things. And this ad came up. Now, a lot of people hate ads, but frankly, I never mind them. You learn so much, and you see so many new things. And even if you have no need for most of them, or can't afford some of them, or most of them, or you think they're absolutely silly, it's just fun to see what people have come up with and created and made available. And what happened here was something that I've been saying should be created for a long time, and finally somebody did it, so I am delighted. It's a thing called an Ember Mug. Have you seen those ads yet? A long time ago we had those little tea warmers. You know, you plug them in and they were like a mini hot plate, and they kept your tea warm, and then the same concept got used for scented oils and things to put in the house, and this kept the water warm so that the scent would keep coming off. And what else were they used for? Oh, I have used them for in my massage work with people in order to keep the oils a little slightly warm. And there are other types of oil warmers for that as well. But at any rate, I love coffee and tea, and I'm forever sipping it. But it does get cold, and so half the time I'm drinking cold coffee, cold tea. I can drink cold coffee more easily than cold tea. I don't know, there's something about cold tea that I'm not so crazy about. But cold coffee is just all right. I'm going to move this slightly here so we can see better and I'm more comfortable. But this thing, it's called an Ember Mug. And it comes in both a regular mug, an open mug, and a travel cup, a travel mug. And it has a little, I didn't spend a lot of time looking at it, but you don't have to keep it on this plugged in plate like we used to with the warmers in the past. You take this off and it'll keep your drink at the right temperature, and I mean exactly right temperature. On the bottom of it is even a little thermostat where you can set it a little warmer, a little colder, and it keeps it just right for you. And it looks like it keeps it about 2 hours. There's obviously a little microchip in it, and I should have read the mechanism more thoroughly, so I can't tell you about that. You'll have to look that up yourself. But I thought this was just brilliant, just delightful, and it's not cheap by any means. It's a gift or something for somebody special, or from somebody special to you as somebody special. Hint, hint, to my husband. Anyway, as though he would buy me this as a gift, he wouldn't. However, it's really good. It's about $80 for the mug, and I think the travel cup is $150. That's what I mean by it's not an inexpensive mug by any means. But when you consider what it does and how you would use it every day, I just think it's brilliant. I was just thrilled to find it. And you can order it either from the company or from some Starbucks are carrying them, so you can walk right in and buy one off the shelf at Starbucks. I don't know. I haven't checked to see if it's available yet on Amazon or not, but that'll be worth a look. I rather doubt it is, actually. I think someday it probably, no doubt, will be. But what you don't learn from ads. And isn't it interesting, too, that I've thought someone should create something like this for years and years? And there must be millions of other people who have thought the same thing. And finally, here it is, emerged. You know, it's kind of like that thing of copyright and with patents and things. Now, I totally respect copyright. I'm careful about that. But, you know, it's kind of silly in a way, because I'm not saying to violate copyrights, and I would never do that. But if you think of it, that very same thought is going to pop up within the universe at about the same time, somewhere else, slight variations, but somewhere else, because that's the nature of thought. We think we own our thoughts, and that is just not the way it is. So here this thing is that I've been wanting and wanting. The little LED lights that you can just, there's stick-on ones that you can put like under your counter or inside a closet or something like that. I had thought for years somebody should make that. Something you don't have to wire, you just put it up and you have this great convenience. And sure enough, now you can get them. They've been out for quite a while. But this is the first time I've seen this cup. And I even like the name, an Ember Cup. So if by some magic I get an Ember Cup at some point, I will certainly show it to you. And it shows too what, you know, you never know what's really important to people. like $80 is a lot of money to spend on a mug. I think we would probably all agree with that. Even in the ad, they're admitting that. But, you know, I would enjoy this so much that I would not say it's too much to try to, that it's too much for someone to spend, if that's really something they would like. And then there are other things other people get and like that, you know, I have no desire for. Absolutely none. No interest in, no. Probably couldn't even work them. But to other people, they're very important. So you just can't say what people value, what brings them pleasure. And it's, you know, it's the desire for things that prompts us to action. You know, if nobody ever desired anything, we wouldn't get far in creating things. Now, that doesn't mean that I think if everybody had everything they wanted, they'd sit and do nothing. I don't believe that at all. A lot of people do. I have a couple of brothers who do, but I certainly don't. I think, you know, if everybody had everything they needed, and even most all of what they wanted, yeah, they might sit around for a couple of weeks and do nothing, kind of vacation and just hang out. But so what? That's all right. That's renewal time. Why do we sit here and crochet 20 minutes twice a day or so? Well, because it's renewal time. So I think they might sit around for a couple of weeks or even a couple of months. But sooner or later, the human body, which was made to move, otherwise we wouldn't have all these joints we have. I have to get some more yarn here. This human body was made to move, and that otherwise the human body and the human spirit, the human imagination, the human mind wouldn't work as they do. We're meant to be doing things. We were just made that way. And everybody wants to do it. Look at the little kids. They just want to try it just to see if they can do it, and that's how they learn to do things. Even the alpacas teach their young by showing them what to do, or the young learn from the elders by imitating what the elders do. Either you can say that either way. And I probably told you before on one of these YouTubes that it was the funniest thing. I was watching a mom and her cria one day, and alpacas will roll. They will roll in the dust. They'll get down and turn over on their backs and squiggle and wiggle and roll around a bit and get up. And they need to do this. It's for their health. It's like us putting talcum powder on. They put dust into their fleece, and it helps keep keep little bugs away or keep things out of them. So the mom found a nice spot to roll, and she did it. She got down, she rolled, then she waited a little bit, and she got up. She did it again and got up. So she rolled twice, but she had a pause in between. They don't always have that pause in between. So she gets up and goes on, and the little one looks at his mom, and then he sees where she was. So he gets down, and sure enough, he rolls, and then he pauses. And then it's like he's thinking, oh, and then Mom did it again. So then he did it again and got up and went on with his mom. I mean, it is just so funny to watch them. So anyway, learning by imitation and by doing things based on our desires. Now, this has nothing to do with that concept of, do what you will and money will follow and all those things. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the desire for something, if nothing else, the desire for another cup of tea or coffee. Gets us up, gets us going, gets us to getting it. So it's like desire is the impetus, the motivation for creation, for creating things, productivity, creativity and productivity. And that's why I've always loved ads. At one point when I was teaching an ethics class, I put together a whole section on advertising. And the students really responded well to that. What kind of ethic, and how do you question your own ethics through ads and your reaction to ads and what messages the ads give and so on and so on. It was very interesting. Very interesting to prepare for them and very interesting for the students to study it. So all you ethics teachers out there, there's a lesson plan for you in the making. Whoops. There we go. So an Ember Mug. The mugs themselves from the pictures are white and the travel mug is black. And then of course you can order extra chargers and things like that for them, but I just thought it was terrific. Because, you know, even if you, like when I take coffee with me in an insulated mug and go out to feed or something, it's great. I'm delighted with the mug and the spill-proof mugs and so forth that we have now, but it's always cold shortly after I get out there with it. So a travel mug that I would take would solve my problem. You know, when we had the barn being built, the person that we hired to do a lot of the interior work after the structure was up, like putting in the lights and hooking up the water and building a an insulated care room, as we call it, you know, for if you have a sick alpaca or a preemie or something. And this wonderful room that was designed to be my office, but it's gotten used for all kinds of other things a lot. However, I'm going to put it back together as my craft room. And we are coming to the end of this. Look at this. We are coming to the end of this skein of yarn. So we'll have to see how, we'll have to make some decisions here pretty soon. But let's keep going for a minute or two here. Anyway, this person loved coffee, real coffee. I drink decaf most of the time, but he liked his real coffee. So, of course, I would take those insulated pots of coffee out for him. And because he was working out there for several days, you know, so I would take pots of coffee out to him. And even in the summer, You know, I offered him iced tea or all manner of cold drinks or something, but now he wanted his coffee. And even in the summer, he liked his coffee piping hot. So that was interesting. I like it hot in the mornings, but if I'm perspiring a lot, I'd rather have good cold water than hot coffee. Isn't this going to come out nicely? Look, we are right at the end of this row. Can you see this? We are right at the end of this row and at the end of this skein. Woohoo! But I'm going to go on with 2 here just to hold that. All right, I better stop here. This is coming along well. Look at this. Look, 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 look. Oh, it's so exciting. Okay. I will see you tomorrow. Take care. Have a great one.